everyone, welcome to Helen Roscoe Yoga on YouTube. Thanks for joining me. So I'm about to embark on a series of practices which will introduce kind of a 3 posture rule. So we will start with the feet in today's practice, and we'll look at 3 postures that we can work with in our yoga practice to help support the feet, to help us feel supported by the feet, and to integrate that into the whole body. Predominantly, there will be 3 postures that I focus on, but we might have a couple of things in there that help us to kind of find a greater balance towards the end of the practice, or help us warm up into those shapes. So when we kind of get to those postures, I'll focus in on those a bit more. But otherwise, what I would like you to do is just take a little bit of time to get your space ready. So if you don't have a yoga mat, you could use a large towel. Just make sure you have some space on the floor to practice, and that you're not going to come into contact with any walls, or if you do move around, that you're not going to hit a vase off a shelf, for example. So this practice is designed to be accessible and friendly for you. So just make sure you have everything in place in order for this to be the case. And we will start with a little bit of self-care. So come and find a comfortable seat of your choice. Now that could be propped up on a bolster like myself, or you may like to use a block or a cushion underneath your bottom and sit with your legs in front of you, or you could do this part of the practice on a chair also. So when you find your seat of choice, just take a little bit of time to centre yourselves. Just check in that you are aware of the ground beneath you. There is this space, this great support that comes from the earth, and it enables you to settle, to ground yourselves physically. And as you meet the earth through the sit bones, through the feet or the front of the knees, just take a few moments to acknowledge that support, find the ground, and then take a few moments to acknowledge the space around you and above you. So you're aware that there is the ground beneath you and the space. You could even picture the sun or the sky above you. And in between is you, your body, your spine. And I'd like you to lengthen from the ground, from the place where your seat is, through to the crown of your head, without lifting in any way. Just finding a little bit of length in your posture. Let your shoulders be spacious. Rest your hands lightly onto your lap. And then take a breath in through the nostrils, and as you exhale, sigh the breath out. And repeating. Breathing in through the nostrils and sigh. Just have a sense that the sigh is helping to bring you into your practice tension-free. Letting go of unnecessary effort in our body. And then either with your lips closed or open, depending on how you feel in the sinuses today, breathing in and out through the nostrils, naturally aware of your in-breath, aware of your out-breath. And then bring your right foot in front of you. Let the leg be soft. And place your hands onto the foot. So if you're on a chair, you may find that you're bringing your foot a little higher onto the opposite leg. If you're kneeling, you could kind of do what I'm doing here. Or if you're in cross-legged, then you might find you can reach foot just by taking the feet apart. So you're following your breath in and your breath out, and what I'd like you to do is just gently, with your hands, squeeze the foot a little. And then as you breathe out, release the foot. Finding some soft tissue on the sole of your foot, pressing the thumbs in against the bones on the top of the foot, gently squeezing with the top of the hand, inhale, and then exhale to release. So what we're doing is, you could take this with your eyes closed or open as well, Maybe try both. We're cultivating an awareness through the touch, so we're really feeling the part of us that we're going to be focusing in on our practice today. And you could turn the foot over, maybe give the toes a little wiggle, continue to follow your breathing in, your breathing out, and if you ever come to that kind of light squeeze, take it on an in-breath and then release on the out-breath. So you get used to the kind of pattern that the in-breath is kind of bringing vitality into your foot, and the out-breath is enabling you to let go of tension. And then trace the bones. Have a sense of the structure of your foot from your toes through to the ankle. Again, eyes closed, eyes open. Extend around the ankles, feel the back of the foot into the heel, and just notice how that then extends and lengthens into the calf. And you'll often find that if there's anything happening with the feet, physically, tensions or discomfort, the calves will have a big role to play in that. So a little bit of massage along the calf would be useful also. And then another way that we can kind of awaken this part is to tap. Just a gentle kind of tapping. It's a somatic level of inquiry. We begin to feel and awaken the nerve endings. There will be gentle responses, gentle sensations that arise. This is where we're going to be focusing our energy today. So let's bring some love and care to this part of us. Maybe stretch your leg along the floor, give it a little shake, and then bring it back in. And we'll do the same on the opposite side. So the inhalations, they're natural at this stage in the practice. Little squeezes on the in-breath, little release on the out-breath. But what I'd like you to do as you focus on your breathing and this kind of hug, it's like a foot hug, that you deepen your in-breath a little. So there's a little bit more there in your breath. And then with the out-breath as you release, it's a slow release. So you're not just kind of squeezing and then letting go, like a hard contraction and then a release. A gentle hug in and then a slow, soft release. Give the toes a little wiggle. You might even want to just squeeze the foot in, the toes in, kind of gripping. There are many things we can do to encourage healthy arch, kind of loading and gripping actions with the toes are really useful for that, and spreading the toes. So you could take that, we didn't do that on the other side, but you could kind of take it both at the same time, spread the toes and then release. And again, inhale, spread the toes. Exhale, release. And then trace the bones up through the foot, around the ankles, into the heel. And connecting that part then into the calf. So if you walk a lot or you run, or kind of most activities that involve being on the feet will amount to stiffness in the calves. So take care of these muscles and ligaments that help to support healthy movement with the foot. And then that gentle tapping. Let's try this with your eyes closed. Try the bony parts, try the soft tissue parts around the ankle, around the foot. Okay, pause when you're ready. Stretch your leg on the ground, kind of give your feet a little wave. Okay, and then bring yourself up gradually to stand. So when you come to stand, what I would like you to do is check that your feet are about hip distance apart. So they're not wider, we're coming in about hip distance. For some of you, you may find it useful to have your feet a little closer together. So just check in and find a position whereby the toes are roughly parallel to one another. And just spend a little bit of time shifting your body weight around the feet. So almost like you're drawing a circle with your head. The tip of the pencil is your head and the base of the pencil is your feet, and it's kind of like you're drawing a circle on the ceiling above you, and that stemming from the feet. And just notice your body weight shifting around outer edges to the toes, inner edges, and then to the heels. And then come forwards. So now your body is rocking forwards and backwards. Let your toes lift, let your heels lift. Just a little way. You might like to stand next to a wall for your balance. And then side to side. Almost like a pendulum now. I'd like you to gradually decrease your sway so that eventually you feel centrally balanced over the feet. And then soften a little into the knees. Press down into the feet. With your breathing, I'd like you to imagine that you're inhaling through the soles of your feet, in through the body, through to the crown of your head, and allow that breath to lengthen you. There is an expansion that occurs naturally as you breathe in. And then with your exhale, follow the breath down again through the body. Let the abdomen draw in a little, through the knees soften, the ankles soften and release through the feet. The ground, find some roots through the feet. And this is our starting point for the movement. The breath in through the feet, to the crown of your head, the breath down, crown of head, along the spine, through the knees, into the feet, into the earth. Roots are established. Those of you familiar with Ujjayi breathing, you could begin to slip into that conscious, ocean-sounding breath. For those of you new to Ujjayi and new to the practice, just work to deepen on the inhalations, lengthen on the exhalations without force. Try sigh the breath out, snuggle the chin in towards your throat. And just come into a more conscious breathing type. First posture, mountain pose, Tadasana with the heels raised. Have space for your hand if you need to, some support. Find a point of focus on the ground in front of you. With our breath in, lift the heels and extend the arms alongside your ears. With our breath out from the fingertips, lower the arms down, lower the heels. Imagine you're breathing through the feet. Inhale through the soles of the feet, lift the heels off the ground. Activate the legs, lift the kneecaps and send the arms in the direction of the sky. With the breath out, lower the arms down and let your heels lower at the same rate. So find a coordination between heels and arms. So we have a small range of movement coming into the ankles, a big range of movement coming into the shoulders. But try and coordinate the pace of your upper body and your lower body. And then exhale and lower down. You may find that you're only just lifting a little way to begin. And that's fine. It's better to kind of have more control and steadiness than to lift without consideration and go off balance. But over time, with focus, you have that point of focus with your gaze. You might find there is a little more support coming in from the feet and you're able to lift onto the balls of the feet towards the toes. Let the whole foot release at the end of that exhale so the breath goes out through the feet. And then as you breathe in, let the breath extend itself into the feet, the ankles, the knees, the pelvis, the sides of the body, through to the fingertips. Lower the arms down. So take this for another, let's say 2 more rounds. So we get really familiar. You could do it about 8 times in total. So you get that coordination. Take the breath in through the feet, lengthen through to fingertips. And then I'm going to invite you to stay, or you could continue with this variation of moving in on the in-breath and down on the out-breath. So on the in-breath, extend into your shape. On the out-breath, the abdomen can draw in a little, but try to maintain the lift of the heels. Take a breath in, a breath out. Abdomen draws in, heels remain lifted. So I'm feeling a little unsteady. Another breath or two here. You could do 2 rounds of 2 or 4 rounds of 1. See how this is for you. You could build up to this. Lower down slowly. Soften into the knees. And then breathe in through the soles of your feet. Breathe out, down, back through the soles of your feet. So with each in-breath, lifting, sense of lightness with the breath in through the feet. With each out-breath, sense of release, and then rooting, grounding. The feet might widen a little bit more if you allow them to soften, relax your toes. Second posture we'll move into is a chair pose. So kind of semi-squat, about 1/3 of the way down. And when we come into this shape, the knees will track over the feet. And your pelvis is kind of pretty much directly above the heels or thereabouts. So you're not jutting your bottom out. It's more of a lowering down. So the abdomen draws in for support. And then in doing so, the feet may flatten a little and we'll get a little bit more extended range in through the back of the heel and into the front of the ankle, the front of the foot. Okay. So as you breathe in, through the feet, remember, inhale, extend the arms alongside your ears, and then on the out breath, bending the knees over the toes, keep your chest lifted, sweep your arms alongside you. Inhale with the arms alongside your ears, and as you exhale, press through feet into ankles, into knees, into pelvis. Lower the hands by your sides. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Abdomen draws in, knees bend over the feet, arms swing away. Inhale the arms. Exhale, press through feet, knees, pelvis, arms low. So we're going to continue with this flow. Your feet are really grounding you here, really rooting down through the feet into the earth. Imagine you have roots stemming deeply into the earth. So you're so grounded in this shape, and it enables you to move freely with the arms, keeping your spine kind of in that neutral position. There is a slight elongation here as you inhale along the spine, and then on the out breath, draw the belly in. We're just trying to maintain some of that length so we're not rounding into the lower back. And then on the in-breath, the arms again, lengthen once more, the feet really supporting you, exhale. And like we did in the previous posture, you could also do this about 8 times as well. You're really generating some great heat internally. It's a wonderful all-round posture. And often you might find with the knees that as you come into the shape, they kind of jut in. So then you really need to focus on the outer edges of the feet and send the thighs out when you come into your squat shape, your chair pose. So when you've taken about 8 or so of those, pause. Breathe in fully through the feet to the crown of your head. Invite a sense of life, vitality, spaciousness along the torso, and then exhale and you can release down. So a little forward fold, and then we're going to bring ourselves down onto the ground for our third posture of the sequence. Take a breath in, extend the arms alongside your ears, and as you exhale, soften the knees so you're really rooting down through the feet. Forward fold. A couple of breaths here where you inhale, you can lift your spine a little, slide your hands along towards the knees, and then on the out breath, the abdomen draws in, and then you fold. So often, if we have tight calves, we might also be battling with tight hamstrings. So forward folding and soften into the knees is a great way to kind of add a little stretch there into your hamstrings, which will also help with your feet as well. It's your feet that really ground you here in your forward fold. Okay, when you're ready, then lower the bottom. Bring yourself onto the mat. So you're coming onto your back with your feet relatively close to the bottom. Arms can be beside you with your palms facing down. And this is our third kind of foot-based posture. And actually, so in Sanskrit this is called dvipadapitam, and it translates to 2 foot support. So we're working into a bridge with an emphasis upon the feet supporting us into the shape. So as we extend and expand along the torso, it's the feet that really where our focus should be in order for that to happen. And the other anchor points then are the shoulders and the back of the skull. The hands, if they're beside you, are equally kind of some anchor points, but try not to press too much into the hands. Focus your awareness on the soles of your feet. So press into the feet first, and then imagine then the in-breath coming in through the soles of your feet. And as you breathe in, that effort, press into the feet, expand that into the pelvis. Take it into the knees first, and then lift the pelvis. The knees extend away from the pelvis towards the wall in front of you. And then on the out breath, lower down. So spine and then pelvis. The knees will stack themselves over the ankles, the feet will soften. So let the feet soften at the end of the shape. And then breathe in again. Start with the feet. Press into the feet, extend that through into the knees, and then lift the pelvis off the ground. And then lower down gradually. And we're going to do this for another 6 more rounds. So again, each posture that we take, we'll do about 8 times in total, so that you become really familiar with how the feet can support you with your breath and your movement. And they play that vital role. So often we just don't give our feet enough time or enough notice. So let them ground you, press in. As you breathe in, lift through to the knees, pelvis, shoulders. The spine lowers as you exhale, the pelvis merges, the knees pull back, the feet can soften, and then again, so that breath in, press into the feet, press into the heels, expand through, and then exhale, lower down. And we'll just stay in a posture for a few rounds as well. So when you've taken it about 8 times in total, just pause. And then coming back into your 2 foot support, lifting through as you inhale. We're going to have a little roll around on the feet. On your next in-breath, lift the heels off the ground. And then as you exhale, roll through the foot and come on to the heels. Try and lift the toes off the ground. Breathing in, roll onto the toes, lift the heels. So you might find that part of this kind of between going from the balls of the feet to the toes to the heels is easier than others. So lifting the toes is possibly more challenging than lifting the heels, or vice versa. Maybe once more, but just get a feeling of what is happening in relation to your whole kind of body here when the feet are more isolated in the movement. Take a breath in, lift the pelvis, press into the feet once more, and then exhale, lower yourself down. Gradually, carefully, the pelvis meets, let your feet really soften. Let go of any effort in your toes. Sigh the breath out. And then one by one, bring the knees in over the belly. So this is the counter posture for our practice today, Apanasana. Your hands are really softly placed on top of the knees. As you inhale, lightly let the knees roll away. And as you exhale, let the knees roll back in again. You could draw the abdomen back a little towards the spine. So there's very little effort here in the legs and very little effort in your feet. Just really let your feet soften by your bottom. Sometimes I see people lifting the legs away, but try and really let your calves soften, the shin bones. And it's a very gentle movement with the arms, so you're not pulling in. This is really about bringing our body back into balance, rather than trying to create any more kind of shape or form. And again, you could take this about 8 rounds in total with your breath. And then when you are ready and you've practiced that several times, you could pause, just let the knees roll in over the belly. And then you have the option to kind of take a bit of a rest with your legs up at the wall. So if you have a wall or a chair, then bringing your legs up onto a wall. And this isn't, again, a posture to kind of define any shape. This is more about kind of letting go through the feet and literally taking the weight off our feet so that we can soften through the feet, along the legs, into the pelvis. And you might want to stay here for about 8 breaths or so. Your knees can be soft. Little effort in the legs here. Just allow them to rest against the wall. And another option would be for you to rest your calves onto a chair so that your legs are on a chair. And if you're using a chair, then place the blanket underneath the calves. And when you've taken about 8 breaths or so in your kind of restorative shape, come back down. Gently pulse into the feet so that your body begins to rock. Pulsing gently through the feet. Gentle rhythm along the body. And you could let that pulse just gather some momentum so that the sensations become a little more vibrant. And just feel the gentle energy rippling with that pulse. And then extend your legs along the ground and stay here for as long as you wish. And if you're staying for longer in your resting position of choice, you could switch off the video at this stage. Otherwise, just take your time to come up to sit, and before you continue with the rest of your day, just take a few easy breaths in, easy breaths out. Just notice the effects of your practice, and in particular, pay attention to your feet. Notice any shift or change that has arisen as a result. So thank you for joining me, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe or give me a thumbs up. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, I'll touch base with you soon. Bye.